مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان. هل هلالك يا رمضان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان.
Oh my! Ah! Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. God is great, I tell you, eh? Oh, assalamu alaikum and welcome my explorer friends. I'm Ibn Haytham and this is my marvelous telescope. It's special because it goes back in time and can visit any place you can think of. I sit here night after night admiring Allah's wonderful creation. Oh, what's that sound? Come, let's take a look and see. Subhanallah! It's the famous city of London. Doesn't London look amazing at night, all lit up? London is the capital of England and the United Kingdom, lying by the River Thames. It is the largest city in the United Kingdom and in Europe. It has a long and interesting history. People from all over the world come to visit its famous places and to go shopping too. London is made up of two old cities, the City of London and the City of Westminster. The City of London is the oldest part of London. Hundreds of years ago, the Romans lived here and they called it Londinium. The City of London is where business people make lots of money and it is known as the City and the Square Mile. The City of Westminster in London is where Parliament and most of the government offices are located. The government are the people who run the country. Buckingham Palace is in the City of Westminster. Have you ever visited the Tower of London? Well, I have, and it was great. The Tower of London hasn't changed much since this time. The White Tower is a keep. It has 4 corner towers and has 3 stories or levels. The Normans intended the keep to be used as a home as well as a place to prepare an attack against enemies. Here is a castle with a moat around it. A moat is a bit like a river, but instead, the river joins the sea. A moat, in fact, goes all the way around the castle, just like you can see here. What a fantastic idea and a brilliant way to stop enemies from getting into the castle, which meant the king, queen, and their men were always safe. I think it's a great idea and simple one too. Maybe I'll have a moat around my house. This special bridge is one that many remember when they think of London. Anyone who sees this bridge knows straight away that it's in London. It certainly is a beautiful bridge. More than 400 workers helped to build the bridge and over 70,000 tons of concrete were sunk to the bed of the River Thames to support the bridge. It looks so lovely at night. Hey, what time does it say on this big clock? London has many landmarks. A landmark is a famous place that you would know straight away, a bit like the popular Big Ben. This clock tower is probably the most famous place, not only in London, but England as well. Its history and the way it was built means millions of tourists would visit London every year. It is located on the side of the House of Parliament in Westminster, London. The clock tower is actually called the Elizabeth Tower, and the bell inside is Big Ben. But what makes this tower so special? The tower is home to the largest four-faced chiming bell in the world. And did you know Big Ben is 315 foot high, making it the third tallest clock tower? Subhanallah, that is a tall building, and it took nearly 13 years to build, and it finally began ticking in the summer of 1858. However, it wasn't until July 1859 when the bell was first chimed. It now rings every 15 minutes without delay. Buckingham Palace is the Queen's proper and main royal London home. But who guards the palace and what do they wear? 5 main groups of foot guards guard the palace. They wear red jackets and tall furry hats called bearskins. When the first guard comes on duty, there is a ceremony called the changing of the guard. You can tell by its huge size that Buckingham Palace has many rooms. The palace has around 600 rooms, including 19 staterooms, 52 royal and guest bedrooms, 78 bathrooms, 92 offices, a cinema and a swimming pool. I wish I was living there. About 400 people work at the palace, including chefs, footmen, cleaners, plumbers, gardeners, chauffeurs, electricians, and 2 people who look after the 300 clocks. Imagine how long it takes to wind up all those clocks and make sure they properly work. Subhanallah, London is an old city, but a great one. And so many people love to visit it too. Allah created the gorgeous world and everything in it. It's been said that it's impossible to see the whole world in our lifetime, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't try. I'm going to search for more and more of Allah's wonderful creations in this universe. So until next time, my explorer friends, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum everybody, it's me Baraka B. Why don't you come and learn with me? Do you know what the word of the day is? Let's have a look and see. Today, the word of the day is Bismillah. Let's say Bismillah together. Bismillah. 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 MashaAllah. That's amazing. Well done. It's important to always say Bismillah before you start anything. It means in the name of Allah. Let's use it in a sentence now. I start my day with Bismillah. Maybe you can use it in a sentence today. I'm going to take my honeycomb and make some honey at home. Make sure you use the word you've learned today, which is as sweet as honey. See you next time, inshallah. مع السلامة.
One day at the court of the Caliph.
O Behlul, please take this money and distribute it amongst the poor and needy of my land.
Khalif, you said this money is for the poor. Well, here you are. This money is for you.
What? How dare you insult me?
Oh, Khalif, please, it's not an insult. It's just that I realized that you need it more.
Ha! Me? Need more money? Ha! What do I need more money for?
Oh, Khalif, in the streets, I see your guards and officers stand in the shops, whip people to collect taxes and revenues from them. Then they pour it all into your treasury. So I thought you are most needy, and I gave the money back to you.
Sometimes we go through our lives not thinking about what we have, but thinking about what we don't have. With money, you can do lots of wonderful things, it's true. However, if you are happy with what you have and are grateful to Allah, you are the richest person in the world. And so we give thanks to Allah for all that He has blessed us with, and we remember His bounties every day.
Welcome to the Fairies News. I am News Captain or Captain News, and have I got news for you? In the news this week, there was a tragic incident of an egg who tried to climb up a wall, even though he had no arms or legs. Yikes! The reporter at the scene of the incident said that Eddie the egg almost reached to the top when he lost his balance and he went splat on the floor. People watching the entire scene unfold rushed to his aid, but it was too late. There was no way that Eddie the egg could be put back together. On other news, scientists have proven that oxygen is a toxic gas. Based on calculations, it is estimated that 7.8 billion people will die in the next 100 years. Professor Screwloose claims that anyone who breathes oxygen into their lungs will eventually die. So far, he has diagnosed every one of his patients with death within 80 to 100 years. Researchers are looking into the subject. The Prime Minister has been threatened to lose his job because he keeps claiming to be a transformer. In an interview with the press, he tells the people that he can change. In other news today, Seti the sofa has been taken into police custody for stealing everything that was left on him. Children at the nearby residence phoned into the local police station to report missing items like rubbers, rulers, and even a 50p piece. When detectives arrived at the scene, Seti the sofa was fast asleep. So they got to work to find the missing items, and lo and behold, they had been eaten by Seti. When questioned, the only response Seti had was, "I was hungry and that rubber looked delicious." He went on to do a massive burp. Well, he will have to do a lot of explaining to the judge. After all, Seti is just a sofa. A patient has been diagnosed being addicted to soap. Researchers at the University of Safaris are looking into the matter, although most say that it is very peculiar. Many believe that this may be the beginning to a new era, but the doctors simply claim that the patient is now clean. A report has recently come in of a celebrity wedding between a blender and a pear. Billy the blender explains, "Well, when I saw Pam the pear, I knew she was the one. Even when she was about to be put into the blender, I refused to spin my blades. Pam was too lovely to be mashed up and made into a tasty dessert." What a brave blender, and a very romantic one too. Pam the pear says the following, "Oh my God, I was frightened of the blender. I thought, well, this is the end of me. It is all over, I am going to be smushed. But to my amazement, my wonderful hero, Billy, came to the rescue and tipped himself over. He saved my life." Well, who said that there aren't stories with happy endings anymore? Billy and Pam are now enjoying their honeymoon at the upscale DIY store in the Bahamas. Have fun, guys. In ancient times, the amazing Egyptians built pyramids that we still visit today. How on earth did they do it? Well, an ice cube and a carrot set themselves the challenge of finding out exactly how. Ian the ice cube and Courtney the carrot took it upon themselves to build their own pyramid in their garden. Unfortunately, they didn't get very far because it was a hot summer's day and Ian the ice cube was starting to melt. He had to pop back into his freezer to make sure he didn't completely disappear. While he was cooling off, Courtney the carrot tried her best to build the food waste into something that looked like a triangle shape, except she ended up getting lost in it. Oh dear. She tried so hard to get herself out that she made an awful fuss, so much noise her neighbours heard her screaming, so they hopped over the fence in her garden to rescue her. Well, that was the end of their pyramid for those two. However, it did end up being a lovely house for the flies to make a home in. On more national news today, police have reported that the clock tower Big Ben has gone missing for the past week, but they claim that they couldn't find the time to look for it. Thanks for joining us today. Over to you, Muhammad Ali, back in the studio.
Assalamu alaikum, children.
Assalamu alaikum, children. Assalamu alaikum, Pip.
Oh, Mr. Faraz, you sound a bit down.
Oh, you didn't reply back to me, that's why.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Thank you very much.
And how are you today?
You know what? It's been a long month.
Sorry, I was looking at the children.
That's okay.
I was just pulling your leg.
That's okay. It's been a long month. I've been fasting for a long time, as I'm sure the children have.
So nice just to eat anything now.
No, not yet. Not yet.
What?
Well, first of all, you can't be eating a table.
I like table.
No, you can't.
Why?
Because tables aren't made for people to eat. Anyways, how are you doing today, Pip?
Oh, I'm feeling quite traumatized.
Why?
Because
Why?
I don't even know what that means.
Traumatized.
Yeah.
Traumatized is when something makes you upset.
Oh.
Can you tell me why you feel traumatized?
Well, today at school, I
Okay.
started thinking.
What did you start thinking?
You know, just
Oh,
like,
you started thinking. That's new.
Yeah, that was funny.
I'm sorry.
That was, you know.
Go on, you can tell me, Pip. I'm
No.
sorry.
You've got a point.
What's my point?
You're not funny.
Oh, okay.
I was just joking.
Go on, Pip. What happened?
You know, you're my friend.
Am I your best friend?
Let's not go that far.
Okay.
Pip doesn't do best friends.
Well, Pip, you're my best friend.
The children at home are my best friends, aren't you, children? Oh, you can be my best friend too,
Thank you very
Mr.
much, Pip.
Faraz. But You know what it is?
Go on.
I just got... Look, can you see that? Look
See.
ahead.
The children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you know the children are there?
I can see them.
Yeah. Now look behind you.
Yeah.
What's there?
My back garden.
No, that's mine.
Oh, your back garden.
Prove it.
I can't unless I go out.
No, prove that what you can see.
I can. There's a blue sky and
It's because
there's,
you can see it.
yeah, I know.
What colour are my curtains?
Off white.
Okay, what do they have on them?
They have lines.
Do I have curtains?
Yes.
Yes. Why?
Because I can see them.
You can
See them.
see.
Yeah.
C, not the letter C, but S-E-E.
With my eyes.
C, not the C like S-E-A, but C. Like C.
Are you okay, Pip?
No, can you not see it?
See what? I don't think I know what you're trying to
You
say.
just proved my point.
What is your point, Pip?
My point is seeing is believing.
Right? Yes, of course it is.
So if seeing is believing,
Right.
why
Then-
why do we believe in Allah?
Oh.
Because I can't see him.
Now I see what you're trying to say.
Please don't use puns
I'm sorry.
unintentionally or intentionally without the consent of Pip.
Those are some big words you used
Yes.
just right now. Someone's been reading the dictionary again.
Ah, that's very funny.
Okay, well I do.
But I'm philosopher Pip, and I'm telling you, I can't see. Seeing is believing.
Piposifer.
Philosopher.
Pipilosopher.
Do you know how philosopher Pip sounds?
Oh, so you're not Texan anymore.
No, I'm not a philosopher Pip.
Okay, I can't understand you.
Yes, I can't understand me.
If I speak like this,
Well, I speak like what?
like you.
Like water.
Okay, now I don't understand what you're saying, Pip.
Doing a good job. teacher.
Pip.
No, section.
Pip, do you know why I think you're being all... Okay.
Seeing
No,
is
no.
believing.
I think you're a little bit confused, and that's why you're a little bit everywhere.
Maybe you're a bit
because
confused.
you...
Maybe you're confused. Have you ever thought about you being confused?
I have thought about being confused.
That's nice.
But I think you're confused because you really want an answer to this question.
Well, I'm fairly certain seeing is believing. I can see this. This is the radiator.
Okay.
The wooden radiator.
Yes.
Look.
Okay, no, let's not eat the radiator.
No, because I can feel it. I can touch it. I can see it. I can.
All right.
Seeing.
Okay, Pip.
See.
Pip.
See.
Pip.
Eyes see.
Pip.
You.
Pip.
I see you.
Pip. I think you're a little bit...
What is this?
It's your fur.
No, above my fur, above my mouth.
It's your eyes.
What do eyes do?
They have many functions.
No. Come on, Mr. Faraz.
They-
Before you were a baker, you used
I
to be
don't
a
want.
doctor.
I don't want to say it because you're just gonna go off on one again.
Come on.
They help
Us.
you see.
See.
Okay, right. I wasn't gonna do this, but I'm gonna do it.
Go on.
I wanted to solve this nicely, and I wanted to have you come back to normal without going into another story. But I'm gonna have to use another story now.
Well, there's a surprise I wanted to see.
Okay, right. Here we go. Now, this story will hopefully let you know that seeing is believing, but sometimes there are things which you cannot see, but you still believe. And you know what? It's a bit silly for me to use random examples or random stories which don't affect you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a story which you can relate to,
Go on.
which you can even do yourself if you want to.
Go on.
Well, a while ago, there was a man called Bahlul.
Who's that?
He was this guy. He was this dude.
Oh.
And this man came up to Bahlul. And this man said, I have a question for you, Bahlul. And
Right.
Bahlul said, okay, you can ask me the question. And Bahlul said, the man said, I can't see God. I only believe things with my eyes. So therefore, I don't believe in God.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, because that's what you're saying. But even further to that, he had another thing.
Oh.
Another question. He said to Bahlul, Shaitan, the devil, is made of what?
He's definitely not made out of fur.
Not made out of fur, he's made out of
Fire.
fire. But hold on, he's in hell. What's also in hell? What is hell made out of?
Not fur.
Not
Isn't
fur.
it made out of fire?
It's made out of fire. So
So
the-
that says that the shaitan will go in the fire.
The man basically said to Bahlul two things. He said, number one, believing is seeing, but I can't see God, therefore I'm not going to believe
No,
him.
seeing is believing. You said believing, seeing.
Sorry, seeing, but isn't it the same thing technically?
No. Is potato same as potato?
Basically, you had two questions being asked. Number one, seeing is believing. I can't see God, why should I believe in him? And number two, if Shaitan is made out of fire and hell is made out of fire, how is hell going to harm Shaitan? What Bahlul did was, Bahlul said, you have a fair point. He picked up a clay rock,
A clay rock.
a rock made out of clay, and he threw it at the guy.
What?
What? What's he doing?
What are you doing?
What's Bahlul doing?
Why did he throw that?
Well, here's the thing.
This is a problem when people aren't philosophers.
He is a philosopher. He answered the question with one action. He answered both questions actually with one action.
What?
He threw the rock. Because the first question was, if seeing is believing and I can't see God, I don't have to believe in him.
What did the
Bahlul basically...
What did the man cry?
Sorry?
Did the man get hurt?
He didn't get hurt. It was just like a...
No, but he was in pain, right?
It was a painful, yes, it was painful.
So did the man go, wow?
Yes, he did.
He did.
And Bahlul said, you're in pain. And the man said, yes, I'm in pain. Are you okay? Where have you gone? Are you okay?
I'm in pain.
Oh, there you are. I thought you'd gone to sleep again.
No.
Okay, well, he said, the man said, I'm in pain. And Bahlul said, well, are you in pain? And the man said, yes, I'm in pain. And Bahlul said, where's the pain?
Oh.
He couldn't point to something and say, I can't go to you and say, that's my pain there. That doesn't make sense.
Oh, he can't show.
He can't show the pain. But hold on, you just said that he was roaring. He was probably roaring. He was probably very painful.
I mean, if Mr.
He might have
Faraz
even been
was-
crying.
Yeah, if Mr. Faraz was Dr. Faraz like he used to be, he would have helped him.
Like I used to be before
You became a baker.
I became your friend. Oh,
And a baker.
and a baker.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. So the first question was answered. The man asked Bahlul, if seeing is believing, and I can't see God, why should I believe in him? But the man, even though he felt the pain, even though he knew the pain existed, he couldn't show anyone where the pain was.
No.
But hold on, there's another question to be answered. The man said, if Shaitan is made out of fire, and hell is made out of fire, how can hell harm Shaitan? Well, the man was hit by what?
A rock. A clay rock.
A clay rock. And what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make humans out of?
Oh, clay.
So if Bahlul threw a clay rock at a clay man, and the man was in such pain, surely hell, which is made out of fire, can harm Shaitan, who's made out of fire as well.
If God wills it.
If God wills it.
It's like if you're made out of, even if you're made, if we say you're made out of flesh and you punch someone else,
Yeah.
you're still gonna hurt him.
What I'm made out of,
You're made out of
clay,
clay.
and what something else is made out of, which is also clay,
Yeah.
it's not that we're never going to feel pain. If I hit him, he still might cry.
So
Does
he
that make
answered
sense?
Both questions.
So he answered both questions. So the first question, which is if seeing is believing, and I can't see God, why should I believe in him? When Bahlul threw the clay rock, the man felt pain, but he couldn't see it. And number two, when the man said, well, how is Shaitan going to be hurt with fire when he's made out of fire? How was the man hurt with clay when he's made out of clay himself? What do you think? What do you think I'm trying to tell you?
That maybe not everything is. Well, seeing is not really believing, is it? Because the main thing, like, which affects us on a daily thing is, like, how we feel things.
Exactly.
We can't really show people how we feel. We just tell them we feel this way.
Exactly. And what you also need to understand, and this is a very general point, Pip, is that there are signs of Allah everywhere you look.
No, because, like, the thing is, listen,
Yes,
you're not listening.
I'm listening.
Seeing is believing. Okay, I get it, but
Okay.
I need some sort of sign. Why doesn't Allah show me something?
Well, you know what? If you want to see, Allah will show you. If you look up at the sky one day and you see a few clouds, you might think to yourself, "Oh no, it's going to be a rainy day." Oh, where have you gone?
Oh wait, I'm
you
just
okay?
looking for my cloud book.
Okay, it's up there. Okay. Now you might think to yourself, "Oh no, it's going to be a cloudy day." But what Allah is showing you, if you open your eyes, is look at me. I can make these clouds appear out of nowhere. I can make water come out of the sky. The same water that you open your tap and you fill a glass with, Allah can make it come out of the sky like this.
Wow.
And the signs are everywhere. I'll give you another example. Look how big I am. Am I big?
Yes.
One day, once upon a time, I was only this big. And I came out of my mother. How can somebody who was so small, who was inside another human, come out and be bigger than the original human?
Yeah, everything is a sign.
If you open your eyes, you will see that every little thing that you can see is a sign from Allah.
Oh, ta-da!
You sound excited.
I've had a ta-da moment.
What is your tada moment?
I don't know, it just said it in the script.
Oh, what script?
Joking. The ta-da moment is that everything is a sign of Allah.
Exactly. Well, I'm very glad you realized that.
Faraz,
Okay. Well,
look at Pip.
it's
He's so
funny also that
beautiful.
you've called me by my other name over the
Mr.
past few
Faraz.
weeks. That was my secret name.
Sorry, Mr. Faraz, what is your actual name?
Mr.
Raza,
Raza,
yeah.
But that's
You have-
okay.
You have two names.
I have two names.
So you have two special names. I just have Pip.
I think you have another name.
Pip.
Mr. Super Duper Cool Pip.
Oh, you flatter me, you.
No point.
You stop it. I am so cool. I am so super. But I remember that I was created too by Allah.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well,
Subhanallah.
I think we've learned a lot in this session today, Pip.
Yeah.
And hopefully you'll walk around with your eyes wide open. Not that you can shut them anyway. Where have you gone?
Eyes wide open.
And hopefully you'll be able to see everything as a sign of Allah. And hopefully what that will lead you to do is remember Him all the time.
See you next time.
Ma
Salama.
التزم طوبى للنفس بتقواها.
Assalamu alaikum, dear children, and welcome to Super Sheikhs. I'm Big Sheikh Hassan.
And I'm little Sheikh Hussein.
Thank you for sending this question.
Dear Super Sheikh, can God hear me? I asked him for a unicorn princess fairy, but I've never seen one yet.
I have never seen one, have you? A
Me.
unicorn princess fairy.
What is that anyways?
It's a unicorn merged with a princess, which is a fairy.
That's weird.
Well, it's weird, but it's imagination, and
Yeah.
imagination is free. You can imagine whatever you want.
If you go to heaven, that can come right in front of you.
Exactly. That's correct.
Yes.
So, do you want to answer it before I do? Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hear us?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears everyone.
And everything.
Yeah.
So even he heard even that loud everyone.
Yeah.
He's called all-hearing. He can hear everything, everyone, every time, and everything we say.
Yep.
It's like he has some super, super, super strong ears, whereas they are still not ears, right?
Yeah.
Whatever we imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, it's different.
Yeah.
So he can hear everything. It's just that what you have to do is when you do ask for what you want for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have to do it sincerely. You have to mean it. Right? The best way to do it is doing it during dua. You can do dua, supplication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what you want. Right? So, one of the things you have to do is you have to actually mean it. When you do dua, you have to really, really mean it from inside your heart.
From deep in your heart.
From deep in your heart. You have to also, which is my second tip for you, you have to try first. If you want to be very, very clever, you have to try and be as clever as you can. And then you can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for even more knowledge. You have to study the whole time like you did. Right? The third tip that I'm going to tell you is that when you ask for something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't sit lazy at home. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't like lazy people. Right? Don't do that when you're looking for something. Right? If you want to discover a unicorn, princess, fairy, try and explore. Maybe it exists. Maybe it doesn't, but maybe it exists.
High
right?
chance it doesn't exist.
There is a high chance it doesn't exist, but nothing is impossible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can create anything He wants, right?
Yeah.
So even the wildest of your dreams may come true in this world rather than in heaven, right?
Yeah.
So what are the 3 tips? Do you remember?
You have to actually try.
You have to try first. That means if you want to be very powerful, very strong, you have to train every single day, right? The second tip was to mean it, right?
To mean it from deep in your heart.
And sincerely, it has to be sincere, right?
Yep.
And the third tip was to not sit lazy at home, right? Which goes with the last tip, as in the one we mentioned before, which is to try. Okay? So don't be lazy, try. Try, don't be lazy like him. Right? Okay, thank you for watching. If you have any other questions, do send it in. And مع السلامة.
طوبى للنفس بتقواها.
Mrs. Rainbow, written by Neil Griffiths. This is the house where Mrs. Rainbow lives. Just wait until you see what it's like inside. She has painted the kitchen bright green, the conservatory a warm orange, and the sitting room soothing shades of yellow. Upstairs, the bathroom is ocean blue, the study a welcoming red, and the guest room a restful violet. Mrs. Rainbow's own bedroom, however, is decorated in one of her favorite colors, indigo. And there you will find every shade of purple imaginable. Mrs. Rainbow is never happier than when relaxing in her garden. Here she is now, sitting in her favorite spot, enjoying a glass of cool lemonade. She loves her garden at all times of the year, with the reds, golds, and browns of autumn, the silvers and whites of winter, and the yellows, purples, and greens of spring. But summer is Mrs. Rainbow's favorite season, and today her garden looks at its best. However, Mrs. Rainbow can't relax for too long today, as the village school is holding a car boot sale, and she is keen to get there early to pick up some bargains. She is first to arrive and can hardly wait to get started. Nothing excites Mrs. Rainbow more than the thought of finding something unexpected to add to her colourful home. After an hour's hunting, she emerges smiling from the school playground, clutching a burgundy patchwork cushion for the study, a bright orange candle for the conservatory, a purple mug for her nighttime hot chocolate drink, and a turquoise soap dish. She will have to decide later whether this will be for the bathroom or the kitchen. On her way home, the sky begins to cloud over and a little drizzle begins to fall. By the time she reaches the house, it has turned into a very grey day indeed, and Mrs. Rainbow is glad to be inside. On days like this, Mrs. Rainbow usually keeps busy working on her latest painting or putting the finishing touches to a tapestry. Sometimes she just sits and watches her tropical fish dazzled by their stunning colors. Today is different. Mrs. Rainbow has hardly got her coat off before she rushes upstairs to try out the new hair color she has bought from the chemist. The bottle says Bermuda Blonde, but as she emerges from the wash basin, blonde it certainly is not. It is more like peacock green. Perfect, thinks Mrs. Rainbow as she admires herself in the bathroom mirror. She has barely finished drying her hair when there is a loud knock at the front door. She is greeted by 3 somewhat startled members of the District Council Planning Department, shocked perhaps by the colour of Mrs. Rainbow's hair or by her matching outfit. Good afternoon, madame, stutters a stout gentleman wearing a black pinstripe suit and a bowler hat. He explains that they are from the planning department and hands a letter to Mrs. Rainbow to read. To the occupant of Rainbow Cottage, at our recent monthly planning meeting, it was decided that your house, Rainbow Cottage, is not in keeping with the rest of the village. It was agreed that the cottage is far too colourful and must be immediately painted grey to match all the other buildings. Signed, the District Council Planning Committee. Mrs. Rainbow tries to protest as she loves her little cottage and thought everyone else did. But the councillors will not change their decision and say they are sorry, but rules are rules, and the painters will start work in the morning. As they leave, Mrs. Rainbow looks sadly at the houses in the village beyond, before removing her house sign and gently closing the door behind her. As promised, the painters arrived promptly the following morning and quickly set to work. They too feel sad, but are only following council's orders. Mrs. Rainbow is nowhere to be seen, and the curtains to the cottage remain strangely drawn all day. News quickly spreads to the other villagers through Mrs. Braithwaite, who almost rides her bicycle off the road and through the hedge when she catches sight of the newly painted cottage. Soon, a large, inquisitive crowd of people gather outside, hardly able to believe their eyes. It is the Reverend Fowler who finally plucks up enough courage to knock on the door and ask Mrs. Rainbow how she is feeling. After some time, she appears, looking pale and grey. She thanks the villagers for their concern and says that she is feeling a little off colour today, before returning into the darkness of the cottage. The worried villagers hurry to the village hall where a special meeting has been called to discuss the situation. Several hours later, they emerge looking very pleased with themselves. Early the next morning, even before the sun has risen, a long queue has formed outside Fred Stanley's DIY store. It seems as if the whole village is there. The following day, the Reverend Fowler, accompanied by a large crowd, arrives outside Mrs. Rainbow's cottage. He knocks on the door and asks her to step out into the front garden, since they have a surprise which will bring the color back into her life. Mrs. Rainbow, still looking pale and grey, shuffles nervously out of the doorway and stands in silent amazement. She can hardly believe her eyes. The Reverend Fowler has painted the vicarage purple and plum, whilst the post office is a startling scarlet. Jean's hair salon is now pastel shades of lilac and peach. The Crossroads Cafe a rich maroon, and the library emerald green. In fact, every house and building in the village has been newly painted in the most glorious colors. Even the church has a bright new yellow steeple. Tears stream down Mrs. Rainbow's face. She has never seen anything so beautiful. "You did all this for me?" she asked. The villagers nod and smile proudly. Mrs. Rainbow sits, staring at the patchwork of color until darkness falls. She reluctantly makes her way indoors, feeling very happy indeed. Several days later, the district councillor returned to the cottage with another important letter for Mrs. Rainbow to read. To Mrs. Rainbow, at our recent monthly planning meeting, it was decided unanimously that your unnamed house is not in keeping with the rest of the village. It was agreed that your cottage is far too dull and should be painted in the brightest colors immediately. Signed, the District Council Planning Committee. Mrs. Rainbow can hardly contain her excitement and hugs each of the councillors, much to their embarrassment, before rushing into the village to tell everyone the wonderful news. After a visit to Fred Stanley's DIY store, she invites the whole village to a painting party to thank them for their kindness. The cottage is soon restored to its original beauty, and that afternoon, the villagers enjoy a delicious and colorful afternoon tea. The party is briefly interrupted by a sudden change in the weather, as a summer shower forces everyone to rush inside. However, on their return to the garden, they are treated to a beautiful surprise. As Mrs. Rainbow admires the colorful scenes, she notices that not only the weather is changing, bright colors really are the best. Bright colors really are the best. That's why I have all these colorful pillows, so I can see the rainbow every night. See you next time.
مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، هل هلالك يا رمضان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان، مرحى يا شهر الإيمان.